Hello and welcome back. Always start with our Victorinox Florist knife. I sterilize this first and then obviously wipe off all of that alcohol. This is a 4-ounce glass bottle that I put alcohol and water in, 50-50 solution. Then I go in with the Garden Sharp beveled edge knife sharpener and give that a couple of little scratches there on that beveled edge sharpener. This is such an important tool in my kit. And I noticed a lot of you have purchased the Victorinox Florist knife. Let me know in the comments below if you need a tutorial on how to use that. I know that it can be a little bit challenging as a beginner, so let me know if you need help with that. Starting with yarrow, this is a super special variety. This is like beautiful beige white, kind of came in a little bit of a range of colors. Some of them were a little bit more pinky lavender, some of them had a little bit more of a yellow tone to them, but the overall color palette was this gorgeous neutral cream white color. And that is exactly what we are making today. We are making a neutral floral arrangement. Funny enough, my co-star actually told me on the day that I decided to make this arrangement not to do neutrals. And let me tell you, they were so wrong. You know, you can interpret your horoscope any which way you want, but on that day I chose to go against it, and I'm very happy I did, because this arrangement turned out so beautiful. Even though it's a sample, it just turned out so gorgeous, and I'm really inspired by the whole like kind of neutral vibe right now. This warm neutral toned arrangement. I think this would be a good template if you are a florist and you're looking for ideas for your online store. This is a good template to use. And shocker, you guys, today I'm using Oasis floral foam. Yes, oh my gosh, please do not come for me in the comments. I know I have talked almost every video about how I always use chicken wire and I don't use florist foam, but it has been, I can't even remember the last time I used Oasis for a fresh arrangement. It's been that long. But I had a client that I had to dig some stuff out of the closet for, and I came across an entire unused box of, this is the Oasis Springtime foam. This Oasis is not as dense as some of the traditional, or I guess the standard style of Oasis. This is good for more delicate blooms. You could go in and use this with like hyacinth or really delicate springy types of flowers with this. I really don't know what came over me, but I think just because I've been so strict about not using it, and it was such an important material in my design process many years ago, I was like, I'm gonna give it a whirl. I'm just gonna give it a whirl, and I don't remember how this feels to use this material. I wanna experiment. So today's arrangement is a little bit of a experiment. This was a sample that I was making for my website, and really happy with how it turned out, but as you'll see as we go along that there are some gaps and little holes, so of course this recipe would need to be tweaked. If you were thinking to use this as a template for your own store, I highly recommend adding in some greenery for the bottom center, the collar of the arrangement, or you could use it really down low. Another oh my gosh, I'm forgetting this green, but it comes in little tiny bunches. They're probably not more than like 5 or 6 inches high. Individual leaves that you can poke into your arrangement that give a good base covering. I'll leave it in the description box below. I can't think of the name right now, but that would have been a good greenery to use for this style arrangement, because as you can see, The yarrow, there's a lot of stems and there's a lot of laterals, but there isn't any dense greenery on it, so it doesn't really conceal the mechanics to the degree that you would need for delivery work, basically. Like if this were going out as a arrangement to a client, you would definitely want to hide those mechanics, whether it is Oasis or chicken wire. So the recipe and all the tools that I use to design this arrangement is linked down below for you. And as I do with every other flower that I'm using, I take the yarrow and I'm stripping down those huge laterals. And now we're going in with, this is, if you've been here for a minute, you know this is one of my favorite textural, quote unquote, filler flowers. This is chocolate Queen Anne's lace. The specific name is Dara, D-A-R-A, chocolate Queen Anne's lace, and it's so special. When I'm making like 3-element bouquets, I try to do one element that has a small texture, a medium texture, and a large texture. So you'll see with the upcoming ingredient how that all comes together. The yarrow I would consider the small texture, the Queen Anne's lace the medium texture, and then the roses the large texture. Between the two, Queen Anne's lace and the yarrow, this creates a really hyper textural base for the roses to sit upon, which I think creates a nice graphic background for those roses, and it creates a nice contrast for the roses as well. So technically speaking, we're using 2 different types of like filler flowers, if you will, to create that backdrop for the roses to really stand out. So with the yarrow, I created a proportionate dome shape. It's almost a perfect sphere. If you were to finish on the underside of the arrangement, you would see that it's almost a perfect sphere. Most of the time I go for a little bit more of an oval shape, but I thought, being that all of these flowers are more on the round side, that this overall silhouette would be most flattering in a spherical shape. So as you can see with this Queen Anne's lace, I am tucking it in at different angles. Not every flower head is sitting perfectly, boom, right on top of the yarrow. I kind of put some of them in at a little bit of an angle. I tuck them in a little bit, and yeah, it just creates a little bit more depth and dimension than just go ahead and kerplunking that right on top. This arrangement had a little piece of yarrow had to go in there. So this arrangement had 2 bunches of each for a total of 4, 2 of the yarrow, 2 of the Queen Anne's lace, and then 1 bunch, 25 stem bunch of this magical neutral rose. This is a new one to me. I'm trying to look and see if I have that name, but again, it will be linked down below for you. So if you want to know the exact neutral rose that this is, you'll have that linked below there. I did remove all of the calyx from this arrangement because on this particular variety there was a lot of green, and I didn't want that green rustic texture showing through, because in my mind this is more of a contemporary modern silhouette, and because we already have a lot of texture with that yarrow and Queen Anne's lace, we want to keep the roses really nice and clean. This is a personal preference. You definitely do as you please, my dear. You are not beholden to follow exactly as I do, but if you do find this a useful and helpful template for you and your store, give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe, turn on the notification bells, do all of the things. It really helps this channel. Also, I added the super thanks to this channel. So now you are able to donate right here on the video if you wish. That button is down below. Super appreciate your support. Thanks for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all your comments, your love, your kind words, and even your critiques, because hey, we're just trying to get better as we go, and your comments also help the community here who reads the comments, and yeah, so if you have any critiques, feel free to leave them below. You could do this arrangement totally easily with chicken wire as well, and that would definitely make it more sustainable. I don't plan on going back to using the Oasis. This was kind of an experiment, a little thing to see how am I doing here. I haven't used this in so long. It was so fun, but yeah, definitely not necessary, especially for this design. And overall, Oasis, I think, flowers have a better time with a direct water source, so that those little particles from the Oasis are not clogging the stems on certain flowers. I think that it just has a tendency to do that depending on the flower. So if you're planning to use Oasis, just keep that in mind. You may not get as long lasting of an arrangement if you were just to go directly in with like a chicken wire or branch mechanics as your grid. So overall, loving this silhouette. I think it's so chic, it's so simple, it's very pleasing to look at because of that reason. We have 3 elements, super simple and chic. And when this arrangement is done, I'm just going in and tweaking the entire thing, pushing stems down, kind of compacting the design a little bit more to give it that finished look. And then of course, I finished the arrangement with finishing touch. It just helps to keep those flowers nice and long lasting and hydrated. Here's a nice little end result. As you can see, those mechanics on some areas, some of the stems are exposed, and this was a sample, so it's not a perfect arrangement, but it still looks really good in my opinion. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. Thanks for being here, and I hope that you got a lot out of this video. Feel free to leave me any questions below, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.